All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Riddle of the Sphinx. I'm Varun. I'm here with Rahul, and we are going to be doing a let's play of this point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Varun's gonna be taking the point on this one. So, would you like to go over how you recorded this and everything?
Yeah. So first off, this is post commentary. The reason why I did post commentary is because I didn't want to use a walkthrough while I was playing. I didn't want to use a walkthrough while I was playing the game because it would make the game less interesting and it would be so easy, right? It would take a 30-hour adventure game and turn it into 30 minutes. So this is me playing basically without guides, but it's being edited to remove me derping around and unproductive stuff that I did. However, I did use hints. I used 2 hints during this first episode. One of those I could have probably figured out, but the other one was kind of ridiculous. But we'll see when we get to that.
All right.
So first off, we have kind of a long intro. There's a few videos. You saw those company logos that played, and now there's some sort of history flavor text, and then there's going to be after this sort of timeline thing, there's going to be an actual intro which leads into the actual events of the game. So I can use this time to basically talk a little bit about the game and then what version I'm playing. So this game is Riddle of the Sphinx, an Egyptian adventure. It was originally released in 2000. It was created by 2 people over 5 years, and they used the Strata 3D modeling software. So I thought that was interesting. As far as I can tell, the game was made in Shockwave and they use a QuickTime extension for playing videos, but that does lead to some bugs, which we'll see pretty soon. I had to do some editing to cover up some bugs, basically. Yeah. So the interesting thing about Riddle of Sphinx is it's not shovelware. There's actually been some effort and creativity spent, which I saw while I was playing the game. Although there are some questionable choices. But anyways, it's surprising that there aren't that many videos of this on the internet already, because it's actually a reasonable adventure game, and it has a reasonable amount of players. So I'm surprised that there aren't that many videos of this. So anyways, there's 2 versions of the game. This is the original release of the game, which came on 3 CDs, and also there was a patch which I've installed, so this is being patched, which fixes some bugs basically. Didn't fix all the bugs, which we'll get to, but anyways, there was also a second release of the game, which was released in department stores. This release was published by Viva Media, and that came on only 1 CD. The difference between the 3 CD and the 1 CD versions are basically the version on 3 CDs has full 360-degree panoramas at certain viewpoints, whereas the 1 CD version has edited those panoramas down to be just single frames that you basically turn and then it transitions. That makes sense. So there's also a release on Big Fish Games, and I believe that's the 1 CD version. So that didn't have the panoramas. So anyways,
Wait, so which one did we own as a kid?
The department store version.
Got it.
Yeah, so interestingly, the reason why I know about this game is because I saw this game in a department store, and it was actually my birthday party, and I decided to, as an experiment, I decided to buy 5 copies of the game, which was really cheap because it was it was in the cheap CD aisle, where they had Diablo, and they basically had Blizzard games, and they had a bunch of crap, right? I don't know if you remember that in Target.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, but we also got Star Wars Best of PC in that same aisle.
That's true.
So.
That literally changed my life. Best
exactly.
PC. Anyways, but yeah, I bought 5 copies of the game, and I gave it to all my friends during the party, and I was like, oh, we should all play this game and discuss the solutions. Only one of my friends actually played it, but the interesting thing is that the department store version just doesn't work. You install it, and it doesn't boot up, and you have to mess around with some files in order to get it to work. They later released a patch. I don't know if that patch was available at the time, but we couldn't get it to run, and then we figured out how to get it to run by renaming some files. So that was basically the first puzzle.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And then we played through part of the game. I don't remember how far we got. There are some solutions that I vaguely remember, yeah, we didn't beat the game, but we did play and discuss solutions as we played. So anyways, once again, this is the 3 CD version with the panoramas. I'm running it in a Windows XP VM using VMware Workstation, and it's recorded with OBS, so those are the technical specs. If anyone wants to try replicating and playing the game. I can't. I doubt it works on modern systems like Windows 10, as most things just don't work. So VM is probably what you need.
Wait, so what's the story? Because I totally kind of zoned out on like the actual like text that's been shown.
Yeah, what this text is. Okay, so I'll say this game has a lot of flavor text, which doesn't really affect the puzzles or gameplay. Basically, what this timeline is saying is, it talked about the creation of the Sphinx, but then like it talked about a series of like people who discovered passages in the Sphinx, but then were shut down by the Egyptian government or by other various things, so they couldn't like actually go in and inspect it in detail. So now we go to the present, and then there was like a recent discovery. So now is a sort of ad slash. Now that this timeline is done, there's a sort of ad trailer slash actual intro. I'll stop the commentary for that because that sort of feeds into the beginning of the game, and then we'll resume commentary afterwards.
Thousands of years before the birth of Christ, Pharaoh Chephren entombed a secret. The chamber entrance was sealed forever. The keys were cached deep inside the Great Pyramid of Cheops and known only to his father's priests, who took the secret to their deaths. Now, several millennia later, noted archaeologist Sir Gil Blythe Geoffreys discovers an ancient scroll unleashing a deadly curse. After deciphering the curse, the entombed secret of the Sphinx turns into a riddle of megalithic proportions. And now, it's up to you to solve Riddle of the Sphinx.
Dear friend, I'm writing you in the strictest of confidence. I've made a colossal discovery, and unfortunately a grave mistake. In any event, I am in need of your help. The Institute will fly you directly into Cairo, from there directly to the site. I do relish the thought of one last adventure with you, my friend, but you must hurry, anxiously awaiting your arrival, your friend Gil.
All right, now we're in the game.
Wow, what an intro.
So now we get to one of the first issues. Well, actually, first I'll show off the panorama aspect. So this isn't available at all of the viewpoints, but it is available at several points throughout the levels. So you can just like look around in a 360 view. So one of the issues that I don't like about this game is that the movement feels a little bit weird. There's some weird sort of touch targets, like you click and it doesn't always go in the direction that you expect. That might be a problem with like point-and-click adventure games in general. So this is actually the only one that I've played. I've never played another Myst-style game. So interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably just a problem that all of them deal with. I guess it's the sort of related issue is the fact that like some of the areas are a little bit too open, which doesn't make sense because if you're only going to move on a specific track, it should be clear what that track is, right? Whereas in this, you have this open area, but in reality, you only can just walk around the Sphinx, basically. So it's not really that open, but it just ends up being like a little bit of confusion or disconnect.
I like the environment, though. I feel like, I don't know, I mean, I never really played a lot of these point-and-click adventures, like, as you know, but it actually really feels like you're, like, it's a pretty interesting environment. I think the music's kind of cool. I'm definitely interested in seeing, like, what exactly is going to happen here.
So here's an
this is-
interesting thing. There's a passage in the side, which I believe is the passage that they discovered in the intro, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't do anything here. I believe this is supposed to be the Hall of Records, is what they called it. I assume that this is the final area in the game.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Did you just hit like about face or like turn backwards or something?
Yeah. And there's also a warp where basically, like, if you go all the way down a tunnel, you can usually just warp all the way back up instead of having to click your way through each individual screen.
Okay, that's useful.
Okay, so that's it. At least I thought that was it in this area. But anyways, we're going to go to a tent that's over there. And there's a bunch of stuff in that tent.
Is this where there's like the recorder or something? Tape recorder? Because I seem to remember that as a kid.
Yeah.
Yo, this is scary, dude. Holy crap. This is definitely kind of unsettling. I wonder how accurate this is to like real life, like whether this is actually representative of like the real Sphinx. And
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so in this tent there's like this mirror. I haven't figured out anything what to do with that yet, but probably does something, right? There's also some milk or something. It's unclear.
could just be water, like weird,
Yeah.
just really weird water.
Yeah, on
Oh,
this
yeah,
desk
so-
we have some locked drawers. And so the thing about the tape recorder is that's the bug that I mentioned, is that when you there's something here. These are basically positions in the tape for listening on the recorder. The issue with the recorder though is that it crashes whenever you try to play a tape. So
Ooh,
what I had to
that's
do
bad.
was I had to edit it so that I pulled the tape audio directly from the CD and then edited it into the video so that we could actually listen to the tape. But
Yo,
it
dude,
crashes
that's
if you play the
commitment,
tape,
man.
and this goes for all the tapes. It's the most common bug that people have reported, and the patch didn't fix it. So on the game's site, they just published the text of the tapes so that people could read it instead of actually fixing the bug. So that kind of sucks, but the audio will be in this video. This is just like a letter. This is a letter from the society to our mentor, who's the guy who sent for us, telling us to, from the society to the mentor, canceling their expedition, basically. And then you saw quickly, like, there was like a knife of some kind and then some glasses. So I don't know if the glasses do anything. The knife probably plays into something later.
So I actually have not seen this or like played the game in a long time. So I'm pretty much going through this blind. Varun has like played up to the point of the end of the video, so
Yeah.
this is like Varun recording it on his own. So I'm gonna be blind too. So I'm just gonna be asking questions here and there.
All right. This tape is about to play, so we'll cut the
Old
commentary.
friend, if you are listening to this tape, then I have met with an untimely death, and as I suspected, the curse is real. Please do not be frightened. I stumbled onto this knowledge too late to know, but you will have the foresight and ever valuable time to carry on my work. I have made a discovery so profound, it will change the way in which man has recorded history. But you must be careful. I cannot reveal too much, lest I fear the others of this site have brought with them a great deal of greed, and would sell my discovery to the highest bidder, placing this invaluable jewel of history into the wrong hands. And although I've told no one, I now realize a few of these cretins I once called my colleagues know that I found something of significance. I suspected they were eavesdropping during my dictation. Even though I do not believe that greed will push them to inflicting bodily harm, I firmly believe them not only capable of, but conspiring to thievery. Therefore, I've taken great care to secure the locations of any valuable information. Of course, you now are the only one that has this information. I have provided you with the necessary clues, but that is all I can tell you. And if you are as quick-witted as I once knew you to be, surely you should not be dissuaded. However, I will give you this last advice. Assume nothing, examine everything, and, of course, write exhaustive notes. And whatever you do, do not give up. This will not be easy, but I am most certain that the reward of your discipline will be grand. I must tell you, I do regret the thought of not joining you on this magnificent quest, but my mind rests at ease knowing that you, my star pupil, will unravel the mysteries of ancient Egypt. Well, old friend, I have much work to attend to, and time wastes not with me, but I implore you, do not take this information lightly. My whole life's work is at stake. Goodbye and good luck.
Okay, that was the first tape. Not too much relevant to puzzles, but just some sort of flavor
Kind of
text.
scary. Just saying. The guy's dead.
Uh,
He said at the beginning, like, if you're listening to this, that means I'm dead.
yeah, I guess so. So I guess he's probably dead. Fun times. So this is kind of creative. They use like a movie to basically add a 3D object that you can rotate around. But this is a combination lock with some instructions. You're supposed to turn right and then left to the number and then right. But we don't have the combination or the lock at this point. But we'll see the lock soon.
By the way, when you say movie, you don't mean like a moving, like motion picture movie. You mean like a certain technique that people use in game development.
I mean, like they use like a video basically and then they play the video as you move the cursor, so it looks like it's a 3D object. Right, because the game is all pre-rendered, so there's no 3D in it, but they can emulate that sort of like aspect. Here, I just click around trying to click on stuff, but you always gotta do some click hunting in these adventure games, right?
Yeah, otherwise you're for sure gonna miss something.
Yeah. Yeah, here I
This
kind of just
music
try
is
to click on
very
stuff, but
unsettling.
most of this stuff isn't actually interactable.
So do we have a certain goal right now? Like, are we just trying to like go inside the Sphinx or something, or like?
Right now, there's not much of a goal.
Is it just like find information?
Yeah, just figure out what the puzzles are first. So here, there's like a stove. Tapping that turns on the gas, but we can't do anything there yet.
Do we know what the combo lock is?
No, we don't know the combination yet, but we do know that a chest exists.
Okay.
So here on the bed, there's like a box with some stuff, a watch. Unclear if this is relevant to anything. But there's also a there's a wallet with some stuff that is relevant, so we can see that like you can take out the cards. So this is the guy who's our mentor that sent for us, the guy on the recording as well.
Kind of looks like George Lucas, just a little bit.
Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit. I believe that's one of the developers, one of the two developers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is it like a husband-wife team or something?
Yeah, basically. Anyways, yeah, you can take the cards out. And then if we take there's a little bit of glitching on the visuals, but if we take out this card over here, you can see that there's actually something behind it, a little scrap of paper. It says numbers at the top, and it's got some numbers separated between colons, and then right, left, right. This is almost certainly related to the combination lock, or the
I was
lock
thinking
on
tape
the chest.
recorder, right?
What's that?
Tape recorder, maybe? Are those like times?
No, I believe it's actually related to the chest lock.
Oh, right, left, right. Oh, of course. Okay, that makes sense.
And then there's a passport here, but we can't do anything about that. Forgot what
So
I do
using
next.
I think you can take a look at the table, maybe?
Yeah, there's a couple things. Oh yeah, so
Whoa,
first I go to
whoa.
sleep. So that's another thing that you can do in this tent is you can go to sleep and then wake up. The thing is, once you wake up, it's not like the whole world at night. Basically, it's just the interior of the tent, and then there's some minimal things that you can do while it's dark. So they didn't re-render like the whole world in both night and day. There's no sort of like cycles there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't actually interact with much during the nighttime. You can't even interact with like the table and tape recorder and stuff like that. Which they probably did to avoid having to re-render a bunch of scenes.
Fair enough. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like anything's changed.
Yeah.
Although maybe in the future there'll be something important.
Well, you'll see right here. There's like there's a candle with some matches which we can light. Oh yeah, first there's a piece of paper. There's nothing on it. It's almost certainly invisible ink, which you can intuit just by looking at it. So basically, what you can do is you can light this candle, and then put the paper in front of it, and then see it, which you can't see during the daytime because there's too much of light. So that's the only thing that you can do during the night, basically. It says the more you stew over the key, the better your chances of finding it will be.
Ooh, stew.
Yeah, you can probably guess what this is a hint for. Interestingly, when I read this, I didn't get it right away, but we'll eventually get to it during this video.
I got you. I'm guessing it has something to do with like the pots on the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can't really do anything else while tonight. So the only thing you can do is go back to sleep and then wake up, basically.
Got it. Now, so you like edited this video like to like cut out like some of the like junk stuff.
Yeah.
I guess. Yo, these snoring sounds are like actually creepy. Maybe it's just because I'm playing this at like 11 o'clock at night.
Honestly, every time I heard the yawning, it made me want to fall asleep. So,
oh my god.
Contagious yawn.
Yo,
Anyway,
I'm asleep in the middle of this.
The other
video,
thing that's in this tent is these books, which we can look at briefly. It's not clear what we can do with these books, with some of these books yet. There is one book that sort of relates to something that we already have, but here I'm just gonna flip through the books and then show off what's in them. Were you saying something previously?
No, I was just making a joke. Interesting books, though. I guess the math looks right, although I have no idea what to check, so...
Yeah, it probably relates to some puzzle. We probably have to use this book as like a
For
reference
sure.
or at some point. But it's unclear what can be done right now. This kind of describes the layout of the pyramid and where the chambers are.
Well, but this is talking about the pyramids, but right now we're only focused on the Sphinx, right? Like, do we ever travel to pyramids in this?
Yes, actually, that's another thing. So we'll get to that, but there's two sites that you visit. There's the Sphinx site and there's the pyramid site.
Got it.
That's one of the criticisms that I have this game is that it starts out just way too open. Like, it just drops you into this relatively large sandbox, whereas like you would think that for an adventure game would want to ease the players into it, right? They start by revealing only a few mechanics, and then they continuously like add more areas, right, that you backtrack between. Whereas like this game just starts out with the entire thing, and then there's no like sort of progression. So yeah, there's a hieroglyphs reference, and then there's some other thing which talks about a chamber in the Sphinx. Yeah, this must be the chamber that we found from the right forepaw.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. Oh yeah, it also mentions a robot, which we'll see later.
Wait, where's the robot?
It's somewhere else. It's in the pyramids.
Top right. Oh, interesting. Seems like they put a lot of effort into this game. It's
yeah,
impressive.
This clearly isn't shovelware. And we have some shovelware, which we might play at some point.
For
the
sure.
Cosme 300.
Yeah, is that like 300 games?
Anyway, so here's one of the solutions to the puzzles is basically like the numbers that we saw. It had like a number and then two numbers separated by a colon, right? Those are basically Bible passages in the book of Numbers. So each passage is the first number. The passage is the first number, then colon, and the verse number. So what I did was I looked up the passages corresponding to the things on the piece of paper, and then some of them had numbers. So what I assumed was, those numbers must be the combination to the lock, right? But it turns out that it's not obviously the numbers don't obviously correspond like.
So they send you to like biblical verses.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember what the actual numbers were? Like, right? 818 or something.
I think the first one. Well, I forgot. I think I might put an image in the corner of this video.
Okay.
But I think the first number that I got was like 811, and that right away was not obviously something that could go in the combination lock because I tried basically 8. I mean, there's no 81, there's no 11. 11 is there. It doesn't go up to 811. It only goes up to 25. So, and there are some other numbers which didn't obviously correspond with something on the lock. So I kind of went back and forth. I cut that out because it didn't lead anywhere. But I went back and forth trying different combinations of the numbers and stuff. But nothing came out of it. And it turns out we don't have all the information that we need yet. So this puzzle is a little bit more complicated. Some of the information ends up being on later tapes that we find. But I haven't listened to those yet because the game crashed. So the game would crash. So, but I did find the tapes. So if we do a second part, the tapes will be. I'll put in the tapes at the beginning of that part.
Okay.
If we do a second part.
I'm definitely down. Like, this seems like, I mean, we're only, half an hour in, but this actually seems like a pretty interesting game. Like,
yeah, but you didn't have to play it.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah, it was a little bit time consuming, especially since I decided I wouldn't use a walkthrough. So yeah, it was kind of time consuming.
Yo, tell me about time consuming, man. I just recorded the part today, like, where we caught Kyogre. And oh man, dude, that was a long fight.
Yeah, and it did wait. Oh, okay. Let's not spoil anything. I don't know if you caught him, but to be interesting. And this is Nuzlocke, so you can't just save and restart.
You'll see what we did.
I see.
May or may not have been a little bit bending of the rules. I figured because, like, normally Nuzlocks, they'll, like, kill Kyogre. Or, like, they'll just run. But I actually wanted to sit there and catch it, so...
Wait, why do people usually run?
I mean, because they don't want to risk dying to...
Oh, I see.
So I came in with the idea that if I wipe out or I kill Kyogre, I'll reset. But if I catch Kyogre and some of my team, like, died while we caught Kyogre, then those deaths are permanent, if that makes sense. So, obviously, yeah, I could abuse reset, to, like, make sure that my team doesn't die while I still catch Kyogre, but I didn't really abuse reset or anything like that. You'll see what happens.
I see.
It's a pretty fun episode.
I think when I played Sapphire, I used the Master Ball on Kyogre because I thought, it's the final legendary, right? I should use the Master Ball. I didn't know about Rayquaza, so
yeah, we had to catch the one on our own.
You have the Master Ball though at this point, right?
Yeah.
Are you planning to use it on Rayquaza?
Actually, log story. Well, I'm not planning to use. Well, I mean, I'm not going to continue the game after the Elite Four, right?
Oh, right, because you need to do the Elite Four in order to.
Yeah, I think.
Catch him.
But okay, I'll explain it in the episode after next episode. But the Master Ball ends up being used for something, so it's a long story.
Okay.
I promise I'll explain it, or maybe when we're off recording.
Yeah.
I will explain it though. But anyways, let's get back here. So.
Yeah, so we're done with everything that we can do for the Sphinx. Well, I'll come back to basically solve the stew puzzle. The stew is the key, but here we're going to the pyramids, which is basically the second site in the game.
Are there only 2 sites, or at least 2 sites?
At this point, there's only 2 sites. I don't know if there's another one. I saw some screenshots of another area, but I don't know if that's related. Or I don't know if you actually go there.
Right.
I should mention, actually, this game has a sequel.
Really?
The Omega Stone, I think, is the subtitle. Riddle of Sphinx 2, The Omega Stone. I haven't played it, but I don't know. We might look at that if we do finish this.
Interesting.
Anyway, so this is like a little tent over here. There's not that much going on. I can just take that gasoline that's over here, put that in my inventory. Yeah, I could look around. You could look down, but there's nothing there, so I'm not sure why they put that in.
It's just like a wheelbarrow just chilling. It's
Yeah.
kind of scary.
You can see here it's dark. So the game restricts us from going any further. But if we go back up, there is a machine here, a generator, a gasoline-powered generator. And we can take our gasoline and put it in and then start the generator.
Now, do we have a time limit here?
No.
Okay, that's useful.
Ideally, adventure games shouldn't have time limits for this kind of stuff because, one, the controls in adventure games are never good enough for like sort of action precise stuff. And then also, it just feels bad because you have to solve puzzles, right? So the whole point of the adventure game is to slow down and like think about the puzzles, right?
That is why math tests should not be timed when they require like proofs. Because I just took a math test on Friday, where I had to do a bunch of proofs, and I had like a 50-minute time limit, and I'm like struggling to like finish these proofs, man.
Oh yeah, it's a completely different calculus when you have a time limit because you have to basically think about point optimization, right?
Right.
And then you need to prioritize aggressively and then write exactly what the question needs and nothing more.
Uh-huh.
Even if that means that you don't complete your sentences.
Alright, so where are we climbing up here?
Yeah, we went up a little bit, but we can't go up any further, but we can go down here. I presume that this all corresponds with the map that we saw in the book.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Whoa. Looks like people have already been exploring here.
Yeah, this is basically where the archaeologists set up their sort of work, basically.
Got it.
There's like a little thing over here, but you can't really do anything here. Yeah, there's also this little nub in the wall, but can't do anything yet. So if I look back on this table, yeah, so here is like a little notebook that describes the history of the expedition and how they like sort of slowly found stuff. Oh, whoops.
Uh-oh.
That's a little bit of Windows XP.
Exposed.
I forgot that was there. But yeah,
Leave it in, boys.
This discusses like the history of the expedition and all the things that they found and their progress with the robot, which you'll see soon. And I read through it, but it turns out that none of it actually is gameplay related. So at some point it'll start fast forwarding, and then you'll see me like slowly read through, and you can pause if you want to read through it. But there's not that much of use here. It just describes them like basically using a robot to probe into like some passageways in the Sphinx. It also describes them like getting mad at each other during the dig, and like tensions and stuff. Additionally, there's also Gil basically password protected a feature of the robot, so they got to like a door in the tunnel, and they couldn't open it because Gil had password protected the robot arm, so they were basically stuck. And then the guy who wrote the journal just decided to give up and then leave the dig.
Interesting. Kind of. It's kind of like how Metroid, like you observe a lot of the story comes from like observing like monuments and like areas and like villains and stuff. Like that's how like a lot of the storytelling happens.
Metroid?
That's a weird comparison. Like Metroid Prime.
Yeah, I guess so. That's really a little bit closer to how Dark Souls is.
Fair enough.
Metroid, it's more like you scan stuff, right? I guess that's sort of the same thing. But...
No, I got you. It's a little bit different. Yeah, this guy has some scary stuff. Like, I just woke up from my delusional state a few.
Yeah, I think they claim that they saw gold in one of the passageways. So they mentioned 2 chambers: the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber. I presume that's all stuff that we'll get to eventually, but I didn't have any use for this information at this point. I just read through it, but there wasn't really that much going on. Mm-hmm. The only relevant stuff is really the robot describes how they basically got stuck at a door.
I'm going to guess if there's some password protection on the robot, we're probably going to have to crack that, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is actually sped up 600%.
600%. So you actually did take your time to read this, didn't you?
Yeah, I did actually read the whole thing.
Oh yeah, so this guy's resigning.
Yeah.
Oh, he's cutting off Gil's funding. That's what the end of that last page said.
Oh yeah. The society that they're from basically cut off the funding.
That's pretty tragic.
So this is the robot, the control panel for the robot. We haven't seen the robot yet, but It's got like a camera. You'll see me like turn on some of the stuff, but without the robot, there's nothing much here. You have like a forward and backward control, as well as some aux controls, auxiliary controls. But we can't use those yet because we don't have the robot. But thankfully, it's just on the other side of the room, so we'll see that pretty soon. Yeah, I kind of derp around with some stuff. A lot of the stuff that I cut out is just me derping around and clicking on stuff and like trying different things until I got the right thing.
Wait, is this the robot, or is this like some
That's like the
controller
control
for the
panel
robot?
for the robot.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got it.
This would be click hunting, just to make sure there's anything that I missed. Alright, and that's the robot.
Okay, so
it's pretty small. And given its size, you can tell where it probably goes.
Oh, in that little nub hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting playthrough because you're like giving me clues and I'm like trying to figure them out.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is like when I'm playing The Witness and you're like sitting there next to me and you're like trying to like point me in the right direction. Like, hey, think about you know where this fence goes or whatever.
Oh yeah, The Witness is an interesting game. I like The Witness a lot. I think it's better than these types of games, but it is different. It's more of a traditional puzzle game. Because it cuts out a lot of the extra stuff, like it cuts out plot and things like that, and focus entirely on puzzle solving. But because of that, you get some advantages, like you don't have any click hunting in The Witness. There's no like sort of like confusion of like where can I go, where can't I go, or like walking around and stuff like that. And all the solutions in The Witness are usually in the same place where you are, so you don't need to think like, oh, is the solution to this puzzle somewhere on the other side of the world? But anyways, we can talk more about The Witness. Let me briefly mention what's going on here. Basically, you can use forward and backwards to send the robot forward and back. But sometimes the robot gets stuck, at which point you have to use the auxiliary controls, either 1 or 2, which activate different features and push the robot past the point at which they're stuck. And a little bit of that is described in like this data log, which is the third part, the bottom part of this like sort of system is like a data log basically where users can add in stuff, and they describe in this data log getting stuck at certain points, and then which control they use to bypass that rubble or whatever that was in the way. And then you just replicate their instructions, but actually you don't even need to read it. You just try both basically. Try both auxes, and then
Turn it off, turn it back on again.
Yeah.
Hold on, that last 24 said like every night around midnight I lose control of the robot or something.
Yeah, I think it said something like that.
That's creepy.
At this point, I think I actually go through the data log and read what's going on there. But all you need to do is basically toggle the aux until you figure out which one pushes you past the rubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is just me reading through it. I probably should have fast-forwarded this part.
No, it's fine. This is interesting stuff. Like, oh, I mean, not interesting, but I mean, it's obviously clear like how much effort they put into this game, like how much like stuff is there here and there, like the little details, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, see, trouble with the initial run, still on the flat section, used aux 2 and got to get past the rubble basically. So here you can see me. I use forward, and then I use aux 2 to get past it.
Interesting.
And then there's a few other parts where you basically just use aux to get past. But you don't even need to read, though. You just toggle and figure out which one. So here's the thing, though. At some point, this is going to speed up 6 times again because they made this tunnel way, way too long. Like, they made it insanely long. And this is they probably tried to make it physically accurate. Oh yeah, so yeah, now just sped up 6 times. But yeah, they made this. They probably tried to make it physically accurate, but I don't think that really was a good idea because this was way too long. I just sat there with the forward held up over for quite a long time, just waiting for this robot to get to the end. This is sped up 6 times. You can see in the bottom there's like signal strength and it's going down.
Oh yeah.
That's the only indication that this isn't an infinite loop. I thought it was an infinite loop at first, but then I saw the signal strength going down, and then it turns out that it's not. So
how far are we going?
I don't know. You can probably check in like the book or like the map of the pyramid.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But my guess is they just tried to match it up with the real thing, but this is probably a bad move because it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's already like too long, like right now.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's kind of awkward, but I mean, I guess that kind of builds up tension, right? If you will.
I don't know. It's just boring.
Builds up to a jump scare. The jump scare is coming, man. I wonder if there are jump scares in this game. There probably is, right?
Might be.
Do you remember the game Gone Home? Oh, okay. I guess we're resuming.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. Yeah, it looks like the signal strength is like going down less fast. Oh,
well,
actually,
yeah,
no,
that's because I stopped fast forwarding.
Yeah. I'm dumb.
To show the thing. So yeah, now you can see finally we're at the end. There's like a little end that you can see in the distance. It's coming closer.
So this is where the other guy got stuck, right?
Yeah. And then you need the code basically, but Gil locked it with his own code and never told anyone. So we don't have the code either, so we can't do anything at this point. Thankfully, I didn't have to redo the tunnel run. So once I find the code, we come back and then
got it.
We can do stuff. So yeah, you were talking about Gone Home.
Oh my god, yeah. So you really got me to play that. I don't know why I was so resistant. That was an interesting game. Like, I mean, I did not spend a lot of time playing it. I should spend a lot more time playing it. But there's some really cool elements. Like, the idea is that you go, you want to explore this abandoned house, and you get to learn about its occupants through like reading like journal entries here and there, and like checking out all these details in the house. It's not a very long game or anything.
Yeah.
But it's very eerie. And I just remember there was one like quote unquote jump scare, if you will.
Oh, more Windows XP.
Yeah, this brings back the memories, dude. There's one jump scare like, in like the bathroom or whatever.
I don't know if that was a jump scare. The one jump scare that I think was in the game was in like the secret passageway. There's like a cross, and the instant you pick up the cross, the light bulb goes out.
Oh yeah. Now, speaking of jump scares, I understand you're working on a game of your own with some jump scares.
Oh yeah. It's getting pretty close to me being able to release something, so you'll probably be able to play it at some point. But it's inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's, which is another interesting game where it's actually pre-rendered. So they use movie files pretty cleverly in that game.
So we're just getting out of the pyramid here?
Yeah, well, this is me just kind of looking around. It turns out I actually find something that I missed. If I turn left here, there's like a little grate.
Ooh, good find.
And there's a note. I actually didn't have to use a hint for this. I just randomly found it. And what it says here, it's a message from Gil to us saying that he locked the robot, and that let's see where it says. The code to the robot is the sum of the last four digits of his campus ID plus the date that they constructed the Sphinx as scaffolding. So, interesting. It probably would have been kind of annoying to find this because it's kind of just hidden off, but I did manage to randomly find it. So, this means we need to go back basically to his wallet and then get the ID as well as figure out the date for the scaffolding.
Okay. So you've been saving a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, you can see I was able to warp a little bit, so I didn't have to walk all the way out.
Yeah, that's useful. Oh, I guess it shows you like that little arrow if you're about to warp or something.
Yeah.
That's useful. Okay, I see.
So first we do here, at this point I figured out that, oh, the key must be in here and you have to boil it to get it to work, but I tried turning on the stove and then nothing happened, but turns out, like, I'm just a little bit dumb and I don't have that much experience with this kind of stuff, but it turns out, like, that just turns on the gas and then you have to light it as well to actually start the fire. So I probably wouldn't have figured that out if I hadn't had the hint, just because I don't know those types of stoves. I've only pretty much used electric stoves where you just turn it on.
What hint are you talking about there?
I used an online hint thing to figure out that I had to use a match to light the burner.
I got you.
And then the key comes out.
What is this a key for again? The chest?
It's actually a key for the drawers. The chest has a lock.
Hey, probably want to drag the key. Oh, skeleton key. That it's like some like universal key or whatever.
Yeah. So here we see another tape.
Oh, what happened to the key?
I don't know if this is a glitch or whatever, but the key basically teleported back into the stove. Kind of weird. I don't know what happened because it didn't happen on the other drawers. I think maybe because I had it in my hand and then I picked up the tape, the key went away. Anyways, but here I'm just gonna quickly check his campus ID. So it's a little bit out of order, but here we go. It's 1334 is the number that we have.
Mm-hmm. Now, where do you think we can find the date of the start of the expedition or whatever?
The date that they constructed the Sphinx scaffolding, and I'll show you that. It's the most ridiculous thing. It's like. Well, that's the second hint that I used. I had to use a hint because I would never have found it, and you'll see where it is. It's kind of unfair, actually. But anyways, yeah. Now I actually take this key.
You can probably unlock all of them at the same time, right?
Possibly. So now I actually put the key away before I try to look at anything. Yeah. So this is just like a scrapbook, I guess, and it's got some article clippings.
Yo, so this is in the future because at the top right it says 2006, and that previous one. Interesting.
Weird. Okay, that seems a little bit weird because
this
is supposed to. I think the.
Oh no, see, fall 2007.
Oh well, that's like the future museum. But this game takes place in 2001, I think.
That's what I thought.
But they're saying that the museum is slated to open.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
But I mean, you wouldn't make a museum and then say it's gonna, release. See, this is copyright 2005. You wouldn't say like we're gonna make a museum and it's gonna open up in 6 years.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
This may not be in 2001. This might be a little bit later or something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Anyways, yeah, it's not clear what else we can do there.
It looks like in your inventory at the bottom left, there's like this like total weight thing. See what I
yeah, interesting. Hopefully there's no weight limit.
Yeah, we'll have to just keep an eye on that.
So yeah, now we have 3 extra tapes. I'll play them at the beginning of the next episode, basically.
Okay.
Because I haven't found the audio files yet, so I don't even know what they say. Well, I read like the transcript online, but I haven't found the audio files.
Okay.
So here we have some star charts. But we can't necessarily do anything because the information related to how to use these charts is on the tape. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. It's a little bit annoying that the whole thing doesn't appear in one screen, so you have to like move it around.
Yeah, I can tell that this part is going to be a little bit frustrating to do because I'll have to be looking at all these different charts and probably do some math by hand. So
yeah, you're definitely gonna have some pencil and paper. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know how excited I am to do math problems in an adventure game, but we'll see.
The grind never stops, man.
All right, so now I'm going to show you where where you can find the date for the scaffolding. It's pretty ridiculous, and then even getting there, having looked it up in the hint, even getting there was difficult once I knew where it was because I kept accidentally warping past it and walking past it. So
yeah.
You'll see, it's a little bit ridiculous. Here, I can't even click the right thing to go.
Yeah, I'm not sure, like... Well, what was your hint?
The hint was that it was, well, okay, I want to show you where it is.
Okay, I got you.
It's a little bit, it's really sort of, like, cheap.
I'm actually kind of curious now, and the music's definitely building my tension. Hold on, what is the scaffolding again?
See, I just the scaffolding is like the planks and stuff that they constructed.
Okay.
So yeah, I just warped past it accidentally several times.
Uh-huh.
Alright, it's about to show up. If I click one more time. Now look in the bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, I see. Constructed like 0217 or something?
Yeah.
So 0217 plus 1334. 217
Yeah.
plus 1334. 1534 plus 17. 1551,
Yep,
I think.
that's the code.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so are we going to open it up this time, or are we going to save that for next time?
Well, you'll see.
Wow, even I'm getting tense over here, dude.
This pause is probably me writing it down or something.
Oh yeah, do that math. Quick maths, boys.
I don't know if it's just me, but I've gotten so bad at just like regular like add two numbers. I can do freaking machine learning, but I can't do like realistically I can't do long division. If you asked me to do long division, I wouldn't do it.
Come on, even with the piece of paper?
Instead, what I would do is I would like multiply the dividend until I got close to the number, right, and then figure out how many times it goes in that way, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I find that to be easier, and I don't remember the process for long division, so...
Oh my god.
But if you ask me to take the gradient of a multivariate function, I'll do it.
Wait, what classes are you even taking these days, dude?
Mostly AI, machine learning stuff. That's the only time I
Right.
have to do math, but... most of the hardest math classes that I've taken, I've already done, basically.
Figures. Yeah, there you go, so... Now, can you do 1551 or 1551?
Oh, actually, I'm not sure. I just did 1551.
That's probably smart. I don't think 15 would get you anywhere. Whoa, what's happening? Did that do something? Whoa. Holy crap, wait, what's happening? Wait, why is this... Was that some like switch or something?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is this realistic anymore?
I don't know. So
Is that it?
yeah, that's it. That's it for.
Oh my
episode
god, you're killing me, dude.
one. The suspense.
Alright, well, thank you everyone for joining us for episode 1. Episode 2 is probably going to take a little bit more time to record, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like what the heck is going to happen.
Right. See you guys.